Andrew Davies, who is the leader of the Welsh Conservatives, who got thoroughly slagged off by First Minister Mark Drakeford in the Senedd just the other day. He gave it to you with both barrels, not for what you'd been doing in Wales, as much as for what the leadership of your party in the United Kingdom had been doing. And you must admit, it does look a bit of a shambles.
Well, good afternoon, Alistair. I'd like to think I gave it to him both barrels, and that's why he lost his cool, because I highlighted two instances of a pensioner who'd been on the floor for 15 hours waiting for an ambulance, and a football player laying on a cold, damp football pitch in Kevin Gribble for 8 hours. And the First Minister in Wales had no answers when I pressed him on what solutions he was putting in place to improve ambulance times here in Wales. But you're quite right. The issues that are going on in Westminster are a distraction from our job of holding the Welsh Labour government to account, but my colleague's job in Parliament, which is to carry on the privilege of being the government of the day after winning the general election in 2019. And it's for colleagues in Westminster to reflect on what has happened over the last 7 or 8 weeks now and actually get on with the job that the people have entrusted them to do, which is to be the government for the next 2 years, put the solutions on the table that deal with the economic problems that people are facing in their everyday lives, the conflict in the Ukraine, continue the support for the Ukrainian people, and continue to rebuild after the COVID pandemic.
Do you sense, as not only a party leader in your own country, that one of the three candidates, the two front-runners, and you know much better than I do, but it's Rishi and Boris as the front-runners, Penny seems to be a distant third at the moment, do either of those men appeal to you as a party leader yourself as being the man best equipped to sort out those economic problems that you've just eloquently described, as well as other matters like Ukraine? Are you ticking boxes yet, Andrew?
Well, one thing I've learned in the 15, 16 years I've been in politics is not to comment on speculation, but only comment on fact. And the position that I hold within the Conservative Party means in the current process, up until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, when we'll find out who actually has got the necessary votes to be on the ballot paper, is that we do have people speculating that they want to stand, but we haven't had confirmation of who those individuals are. I have a good relationship with both the lead candidates, as I understand it, Boris Johnson from when his time in office as Prime Minister, but before that in his time as Mayor of London, but also Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor. We had great engagement with both those two individuals, and whoever comes through, I will look forward to working with to continue the really important job as Conservatives that we have in government in Westminster, but here in Wales, to live up to people's expectations when they put their cross on the ballot box for us in 2019. And it will be a betrayal of those people unless we actually start to deliver on the economic concerns that people have, on the international concerns that people have, and on the domestic concerns that people have about rebuilding after COVID. It
was very, very clear, and I want to tie into that something that that Kevin Hollinrake, Thurston Maldon Tory MP, said on the programme in our first hour. I think he shared your analysis of the economic challenge, but he was foursquare saying that Sunak is correct this time, as he was when he was head-to-head against Liz Truss, and that is that those tax cuts and that direct help in volume for people cannot come until later. It's not jam today, it's jam tomorrow. That's not going to win a general election, is it, Andrew?
Well, the point I would make, and I made in my earlier comments to you, Alistair, is that I was someone who regretted the instability that arrived at the doorstep of the Conservative Party in July when the sitting Prime Minister was turfed out of office. I accept that the dynamics around that meant that he had to hand his resignation in, but as someone who believes that if you vote for a party and a leader at a general election, you have a reasonable expectation that they will serve the mandate. And obviously through the summer months, we had a genuine contest between two individuals who set out their stall, both obviously signed up to future tax cuts, one with immediate effect, one with medium to long-term effect. And I do believe that's the trajectory the Conservative Party has to be on, which is about allowing people to retain as much of their money as possible, whilst taking a reasonable proportion of that in taxes to pay for our great public services. Because unless you incentivise people to go out and do that extra shift, extra overtime, or be dynamic in the workplace to create an economy that's a 21st century economy, we will see stagnation and we will see a declining economy that will shrink the pie that pays for the public services.